What is up, y'all? Welcome to Saved by the Code, where I talk about all things Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, the separation of money from state. Got the juice for you as usual. What else do you expect from this channel? Nothing but the juiciest juice. Got all sorts of good stories for you today. So let's just go. Why would I? Well, first off, Bitcoin has officially cracked $30,000 for the first time in 10 months. Exciting times for sure. Could this be the end of the bear market? Could we be at the beginning of something big? I think so. There's just a combination of so many different things going on that are in favor of Bitcoin appreciating very much so in value in the coming future. Can't give you an exact timeline, but one thing that's happening about this time next year is the halving, and this happens every 4 years, and this is going to be the fourth halving. It is what contributes to Bitcoin's deflationary nature. When Bitcoin first started, every 10 minutes, 50 Bitcoin would put into circulation. 4 years later, that gets cut in half to 25, gets cut in half to 12 and a half. Currently, we're at 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. And in a year from now, that will be sliced in half yet again, meaning that supply is dwindling, folks. And what happens when the demand, even if it stayed the same, the supply gets cut in half? That means number go up. So we will see what happens. Usually that is exactly what happens. It's kind of played out like clockwork. For the past 14 years Bitcoin's been around. It happened last year, or what the heck am I saying? It happened 4 years ago, 3 years ago now, in May 2020. We saw a massive price appreciation over the course of the next year after the halving, but we all know what happened 2 months before that in March 2020. Caused a massive crash, and it was just a black swan event. Who would have seen that coming? But these things happen, and it affects prices of things, Bitcoin included. However, the halving event in combination with, the financial system breaking, burning, exploding, being decimated, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't work. The devaluation of the US dollar, there's just so many things going on right now that are in favor of Bitcoin. It's kind of crazy. This is exactly what it was designed for, and those that own it, I think we're going to have a world where you own Bitcoin or you don't. Get it while you can, folks. Not financial advice. Make your own investment decisions, but I don't know about you. The scarcest thing on the planet, wouldn't you want a little bit of that? Something that provides an alternative to our failing financial system. An alternative to the falling dominance of the US dollar as the reserve currency. What will come next when the US dollar goes away? Will you really want to put your money in the Chinese yuan? I didn't think so. So where is it going to go? Gold. Oh, gold. Gold's great. I'm an advocate of gold. However, we don't live in 1837 anymore. I don't know if you noticed what year it was, but it's like I said, it's great to have. Not investment advice, make your own investment decisions. However, it's a good thing to have, not bad to have gold. However, Bitcoin's better at being gold than gold is now. It really is. The properties of it, like I said, we live in the year 2023 now, not 1846. So, I should be able to transfer large amounts of money or store large amounts of money in, very small space, or send it to whomever at any point in time. It's just, in these crazy times we live in, it is good to have gold for sure, because what if the power goes out or the internet goes away? That's not good. I mean, you can, seriously, it's crazy. You can still send Bitcoin through like radio signals, and there's satellites in space to where you can send Bitcoin through. It's really crazy. So we don't even need the internet. It's kind of nutty. No, yeah, I get that, but it's still, even if it did go away, Bitcoin would still be here. It would still be here. All right, let's get into the juice we got for you today. Got some juice for you. This first story here, the New York Times is one of the most trash, agenda-driven media outlets on the planet. And the uptick in articles bashing Bitcoin has been noticeable in recent times. I don't know if that has anything to do with, the banking collapses and the loss of dominance of the US dollar as being the world reserve currency and Bitcoin being the number one contender to take its place. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but we got the New York Times coming out bashing the hell out of Bitcoin. Once again, an incredibly intellectually dishonest, hypocritical lie of an article. Once again, another one. Like I said, these have just been dropping left and right. These agenda-driven people that, they're just fiat money puppets, government money puppets. We'll pay you this worthless paper crap monopoly money and you say bad stuff about Bitcoin. Does that work? Yeah, sure, we'll do it. Whatever you want. They're probably secretly buying Bitcoin with it. But as long as they put those articles out bashing Bitcoin being as intellectually dishonest as you could possibly be, then most people will believe it, unfortunately. This picture was taken on my birthday in Texas at a Bitcoin mine. Let's go. It just talks about, once again, all they can possibly do at this point is bash Bitcoin for its energy use. And even that's a weak argument, because the facts of the matter is that in areas where there is a lot of Bitcoin mining, it balances the grid. It lowers costs for the end consumer. It by balance the grid, I mean when there's periods of high energy demand, Bitcoin miners have an agreement with. This is how it works in Texas, because that is where a ton of Bitcoin mining happens. They have an agreement with the local municipality that they have to shut down their Bitcoin mine if there's a lot of energy demand and they need the energy that Bitcoin miners are using. They'll pay the Bitcoin miners, so they're incentivized to do this and balance the grid, because the Bitcoin miners are buying up all the excess energy whenever there is low power demand from the grid, because that's wasted money, or that's wasted energy, and that's lost profits whenever there's energy that's not being used. And so that's why they incentivize them to do this energy grid balancing. This and also results in lower bills for the end consumer, because these energy companies are making a profit, and so they're happy. They'll lower prices for their customers. And so this is actually happening in real time. The New York Times blatantly lies about that this is not happening. It's kind of insane how they can just put out whatever they want in blatant lies, and it's just not true, because Bitcoin mining is having a net positive impact in these places. They bring jobs, they balance the energy grid, they lower costs for the end consumer. They provide an alternative financial system where, in a world where we don't have one that works, which is incredibly valuable. But the highlight of the article is how much energy Bitcoin uses, and it's going to burn us all alive, and we're all going to die because of Bitcoin mining. That is literally basically what it says. It's really crazy. Once again, no mention of how much energy banks use, the gold mining industry, video games, refrigerators, Christmas lights. You know, I could go on. What it always will come down to is this energy use justified? And I say this in so many videos because it's such a at the forefront of their fiat-driven agenda, government, central bank, currency agenda to kill this thing that is their worst enemy. They are scared so bad of Bitcoin. It's like so hilariously obvious. But the thing is that Bitcoin is literally unstoppable. You cannot stop it. It's really mind-blowing. And, this is all they can do. This is literally the only weapon that they have. It's just putting out bad media coverage. Made up crap, intellectually dishonest, hypocritical. Not once, they just talk about how much energy Bitcoin's using, but do they talk about, they don't raise the question once, is this justified? All they say is that it uses a bunch of energy. And they bank on the fact that the majority of the readers don't know how Bitcoin works, so they'll buy it and they'll be like, Bitcoin use energy bad. Like, that's how most people work, unfortunately. They read a headline, they don't even read the article, or they read one article and that's their opinion. That's all. No further research. They'll go and tell their friends Bitcoin uses a lot of energy, don't buy it, it's going to burn us all alive. Because the New York Times said so. Oh, gosh. It is just unbelievable. But these will continue coming out because they're so scared of Bitcoin. And you know what that tells me? Bitcoin is the answer. Oh, geez. All right. Well, yep, New York Times. I mean, there's just so many articles like this dropping. There was one that happened last week. That's why I made that. I made a video just totally surrounding about the Bitcoin energy usage crap that's being peddled by these media outlets and their complete lack of intellectual honesty, hypocrisy, lies, all that stuff. Not once they mentioned in this, the value that Bitcoin brings to humanity, what it can do for us, especially in countries where there is not a financial system, literally. I mean, it's happening here, but we still have a remnant of something, who knows, but it's crumbling apart and will continue to do so. We're going to be Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, all those places. They get locked out of their savings. Their money gets devalued into absolute oblivion. Bitcoin is a life raft for them because they literally do not have money that is workable. How do you live? No wonder why a lot of these countries are just in third world condition, and that's where we're headed. And Bitcoin is that life raft, and that's why they hate it, and they release these incredibly deceiving, hypocritical, and intellectually dishonest articles that are pathetic, honestly. I fart in your general direction, New York Times. Monty Python's so funny. All right. Next article here. I better hurry it up. I am going way too slow here. All right. A lot of Bitcoin stuff because Bitcoin is just red hot. It is the only true decentralized cryptocurrency. It really is. I like other projects, like I've mentioned many times before. However, Bitcoin is the king, the undisputed king. It has the most staying power. I mean, the thing has been around for 14 years. The fact that it's not dead yet is nuts. It survived those early days. These days are nothing, honestly. Like, I have full confidence that Bitcoin is here to stay, and it is going up, up, up. Get it while you can, folks. Like I said, the time is a ticking. All right. This article states more Bitcoin than ever is now dormant. Here's what that means. Yeah, apparently over half of the coins that have ever been mined, over 53%, have just been sitting there for more than 2 years. People like to hold Bitcoin. They do. They don't want to sell it. And it is hard to sell. It's incredibly difficult. I've had to do it before, but it's very difficult. And you can do whatever you can not to if you have full conviction of this thing. And yeah, a lot of people are holding this because they don't want to sell and they see the value in it. They want to make money. Duh. We all do. I do. That's definitely a reason why I hold Bitcoin. In combination with me, I totally am a believer in decentralization and it having the ability to liberate us from the shackles of these overpowerful banks. Yeah, it's a lot of people holding. Yeah, I don't want to let go of that Bitcoin. They want the Bitcoin. They want the money. And yeah, I have another article here. What is it? As on rise. Yeah, apparently the amount of Bitcoin holders overall has reached an all-time high of around 42 million people. That's a lot of people, man, holding Bitcoin. A lot of people. It's almost 1% of the world. Isn't that crazy? 1% of the world's population is 80 million people. Maybe that's not almost 1%. Half a percent. That's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, the number of holders is at an all-time high, and the amount of Bitcoin just sitting there is at an all-time high. People holding this thing knowing, and also the reason they're holding it because they think the price is going to go way higher. Why would you sell something when you think the price is going to go way more? In combination with, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this insane environment that we're living in right now couldn't be a better environment for Bitcoin to thrive. Like, it's just perfect. And it's unfortunate that Bitcoin thrives in times where the world is falling apart, but I didn't make the rules. You can talk to those people up, on the news and stuff that ruin all of our lives. Bitcoin is just there. Just, hey, what's up? Just kind of here to, save humanity. No big deal. You should check me out. This article, US dollar could lose most of its value in 5 years, investment manager warns. Totally 100% agree. Larry Lepard has warned that the US dollar could lose most of its value within 5 to 10 years. This is something which it sees 6 billion of the currency and that sent the message to everyone in the world. Yeah, I mean, the US dollar is so clearly going down. The alliance between like China, Russia, Brazil, whatever, to not use the US dollar, all this craziness going on, and the amount of money printing happening, and it's just mathematically like kind of impossible for it to even not go to zero. It's almost like we need, like, if we had some like alternative or something, like, wouldn't that be so cool? Like, too bad we're trapped in the US dollar and gold, and that's all we got. That's all we have is the US dollar and gold. I mean, if only we had some alternative, like, some decentralized computing system where you had to, like, guess numbers to secure the network. Genius. It exists. See, though, imagine a world without it. It would be scary. If we just had gold in the US dollar, I would be running for the hills. Scary. Gold's great. I'm an advocate of gold. I think it's good. I think metals are good. Silver even, property's good too. We need something. We need a digital gold desperately, and we do. We got one. All right. Enough of that US dollar nonsense. We are going to soon be wiping our butts with the US dollars. $100 bills. Because they will be worth less than toilet paper. Yes, you heard it here, folks. The US dollar will be worth less than toilet paper. Soon. Very soon. Alrighty, let's go on to this next story. Former Coinbase CTO predicts this about the future of Bitcoin. But here's the hitch. This is that guy. I made a video about it. Well, not the entire video, but part of it. That says Bitcoin will be $1 million in 90 days, and that was about 30 days ago that he said that, so we got like 60 days left. Hey, we're at 30 grand. We were at 28,000 when he said that, so hey, it could happen. It could happen. And his whole thing is that hyperinflation is going to send just the ratio, the relationship between Bitcoin and the US dollar will just, because the US dollar is being inflated into absolute oblivion. Bitcoin would be $1 million, but a gallon of milk would be $100. And I don't see that happening in 60 days, to be honest. I see that happening in the next decade for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just the whole, what's everywhere. Our financial system failing, them printing US dollar into oblivion, da 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 da. And here's a quote from the article. The fact that a digital gold-like thing now exists is something they did not predict could exist in this generation of Keynesians. Yeah, that's that like school of economics, Keynesian economics. It's like so. That's why we're in this position that we are today, because the majority or like everybody in power is a Keynesian. And it's so irrational and like outdated and illogical. It's kind of crazy. I'm not even into economics, and you read the difference between Austrian and Keynesian, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Keynesians are just like, yeah, just print your way out. It's all good. Just print. Just print. Everything will be fine. Just print more money. That is literally how these people think. It's insane. And look around you. It ain't working. It ain't working. All right. Next story here. Like I said, I got to keep it moving here. I don't want these videos to be too long. Got a lot to discuss. And plus, we already know all that stuff I talked about, but, just got to hammer it home. All right. This article I really liked because it does pertain to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Bitcoin energy use. And Texas is the center, is very central to that in the Bitcoin mining world. A lot of Bitcoin miners flocked to Texas because China was like, get out! We don't like your kind around here. Because, that's a totalitarian state, and they don't like things like Bitcoin that removes power from them. And, that's kind of where the U.S. is going too, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, this letter some guy in Texas wrote. His name is Parker Lewis. I have heard of him. I've actually listened to some podcasts with him. He's a big Bitcoin guy. He runs a Bitcoin mining operation, and he sent this letter to this legislator or senator that's trying to pass this bill that would disincentivize Bitcoin miners to turn off their machines in time of high energy demand, like I spoke about before, how it balances the grid and everything. She wants to reduce it to only 10% of miners that will get money for that. And this is just a letter to her to be like, what are you doing? Like, you have no understand. She doesn't understand Bitcoin, clearly. Just kind of buying into that whole narrative that Bitcoin mining bad, Bitcoin mine use energy, Bitcoin bad. You know, no further research, no knowledge about Bitcoin or anything. You know, it's just the same thing. There are no. Okay, here's a quote from the article. The bill concerns virtual currency mining as demand response. Really at issue is Bitcoin, not virtual currency broadly. There are no miners for any currency other than Bitcoin that could be of note participating in demand response programs or promoting grid reliability. Bitcoin is also definitionally not comparable to any other currency and is not virtual. Bitcoin is not crypto. Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin is at the heart of your bill, a better understanding before legislating would be beneficial. He's just calling this lady out. And I think she'll hear him because he's a pretty big, well-known person in Bitcoin. And the Fed has increased the money supply by $8 trillion, or 8x since the Great Financial Crisis, which causes inflation and destroys savings. Yeah. Inflation is a hidden tax. They say it's good. It's not. It's just to get more money out of your pocket and into theirs in a very sly, sneaky, dirty way. That's what inflation is. And yeah, I mean, that's why they like inflation. Says here, nothing of value comes without a cost. Bitcoin's 21 million fixed supplies secured by energy, specifically power. In short, energy innovation has always been strategic to Texas. Energy is strategic to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will become increasingly strategic to Texas as a result. However, it is not just about power generation and demand. It is about the problems of printing money, which undermine the interests of all Texans in the state of Texas. Yeah. They say in these energy arguments that the consumers are paying the price for it in the end, failing to mention how much energy the banking sector uses and how the public toll banks have taken on us, but that's never mentioned in any of these articles. Bitcoin has taken such a toll on the public, according to these Bitcoin bashing articles, that people are just, they can't live with this thing that provides them an alternative to the banking system. Oh, but the banking system takes no toll on anybody. Just provides us with blue skies and flowers everywhere. Oh, gosh. But yeah, you wrote this letter to this senator. I hope she hears him. Hope she responds. Hope she pulls her head out of her you-know-where. But yeah, go home, Senator. You're drunk. Typical nonsense. He goes through in this letter, discriminatory, singles out Bitcoin miners from all other industries, setting everything else aside. This is discriminatory and creates an unlevel playing field. Yeah. There's other energy balancing grid things that they have agreements with, and they're not complaining about those. It disincentivizes Bitcoin miners from participating in ancillary services which promote grid stability. The stabilizing nature of Bitcoin mining on the grid. Bad for consumers. And because Bitcoin miners promote cheaper and more stable power prices for all Texas consumers. And so he's just wrecking it all because of a complete lack of understanding and ignorance, and just probably being paid to do so. I could almost guarantee you, by the fiat machine, which they are going to fight back. They will, but they will lose. Bitcoin's unstoppable. I love this story. Right after all these energy, we need to stop Bitcoin mining. CleanSpark, a public Bitcoin mining company, nearly doubles its Bitcoin mining capacity with a $145 million Antminer purchase. This company purchased $150 million in Bitcoin mining machines in light of all these Bitcoin bashing articles of how we need to stop Bitcoin mining before we all die. But banks can continue to operate because they just They just provide us with such an amazing world. What a beautiful, wonderful. I couldn't imagine a world without banks. It just would be so horrible. Oh, wait. It already is. Bitcoin is hope, though. Bitcoin is freedom. And it is hope against the scourge that is banks and the fiat money regime. The biggest Ponzi scheme in history, by the way. Literally, the US dollar is the largest Ponzi, illegally operating Ponzi scheme on the planet. It's just incredible how even the facts are out there everywhere. People hear it, they're like, oh, well, whatever. It's all good. I'm just being robbed blindly. Whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to go to my job and pay my taxes, and that's all. Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution. You don't need to hurt anybody. You just buy Bitcoin. Not financial advice, you make your own investment decisions, but it is a peaceful revolution. You take your monopoly money out of the bank and you put it into the Bitcoin thing, this newfangled Bitcoin thing, and you convert it into real money. You convert fake money into real money. That's what Bitcoin does. It's a fake money converting machine. It's pretty fantastic. All right. But yeah, this Bitcoin mining company just bought a ton of miners. I love it. $150 million of them. Eat that, New York Times. Oh, gosh. This article, breaking dollar hegemony, BRICS nations are leading the world to hyper-Bitcoinization. Yeah. This whole, alliance between China and Russia and Brazil and India, it's great. It's a massive advertisement for Bitcoin. Please don't use the US dollar because it is garbage. It's trash. And we do need an alternative. So thank you for expediting that. I think it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I don't know what the S is. South Africa. That's what BRICS stands for. And yeah, they are like in agreement to not use the US dollar anymore to do their trade because the US dollar is trash. Literal trash. It's almost like, what if there was an alternative? It would be pretty wild. Wouldn't that be cool? That would be pretty cool. Oh, man. It's literally a massive advertisement. Like, it's literally like, US dollar's trash. We need something else. Do you think their currencies are any better? Like, really? Do you think the Chinese yuan or the Russian ruble? The Russian ruble! Talk about a joke. US dollar is a complete joke, but my gosh. Ugh. It's absurd. They will have the same fate. Fiat currencies do not work. They don't work. Get that through your head, people. I don't know how many times we got to go through this, but oh, man. We got this cool thing called Bitcoin. Take a look. Check it out. It's pretty cool. There's a reason why I'm obsessed with it. Am I the crazy one, though? Am I? Am I crazy? Like, really? I don't think so. I've thought about this a lot, and maybe I am. I don't know. It just... I don't know how you couldn't gravitate towards Bitcoin in these crazy times. All right. Next story here. Arkansas House and Senate passed bill protecting right to mine Bitcoin. Goes to governor for approval. Arkansas, not Arkansas. Arkansas House. You go, Arkansas. Love it. The Arkansas State House has passed a bill aimed at regulating the Bitcoin mining industry in the state, protecting it. Now heads to the governor's office for approval. It was passed by the state Senate. For Bitcoin miners, would create guidelines for Bitcoin miners and would aim to prevent fraudulent business practices. Cool. Data centers create jobs, pay taxes, and provide general economic value to local communities in the state. Yeah, cool. All right. Arkansas letting Bitcoin in. Hopefully that governor passes it. I don't know who that governor is, but they say their name anywhere in here. No. But progress is being made in some areas and others not so much. The U.S. regulation hammer is coming down. They're fighting hard. They're failing, but they're fighting. I don't know what they're fighting, but they want to prevent prosperity and happiness and freedom at all costs. That's what U.S. regulators do. I don't know if you noticed, but starting a business is extremely difficult in this country anymore, almost prohibitively. There's a lot of companies that leave, tech companies, crypto companies, because it's too freaking ridiculous here how we still operate on laws from the 1930s with the SEC and that nonsense. And oh gosh, I'm not even going to go into it, but just absurdity everywhere, as usual. Bitcoin's hope. I know I'm negative a lot of the time, but it's reality, and we need to hear it. Not enough people talk about it. They just go, no, we can't talk about that right now. Some other time. And then they never talk about it. Oh, well, that's what I'm here for. To tell you that Bitcoin is hope, Bitcoin is freedom. It's the way out. It's the lifeboat from these menacing, evil corporations. We literally is like in a movie. We're like living through historical times. This is like a movie. Like, just imagine just like the dark forces overtaking the world. And then Bitcoin, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Bitcoin. He blows up the bad guys and everyone's saved. That's the movie we're living in right now. At least in my head. Who plays the Bitcoin? Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously. Who else? Anyways, imagine that. I made a movie with like Arnold, and he's just a big Bitcoin, and he just destroys the invading robots. Which I wouldn't be surprised if, some of these evil powers are actually AI or robots or not human, like reptiles. You never know these days, folks. We could be being ruled by reptilians, shapeshifters. Anyways, let's get back to the Bitcoin stuff. I even got some Ethereum stuff for you here if I got time. How much? All right, we got a little bit of time. All right, this story. David Marcus's Lightspark unveils Bitcoin Lightning Power for businesses. Lightning Network is a second layer scaling solution on top of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's layer 1 is really slow, so it needs to be a layer 2 built on top of it to make it faster, quicker, cheaper. It's already pretty cheap to transact on the base chain, but when there's times of high traffic, it goes up and it's slow. Backlogs occur. We need to scale it. The layer 1 is honestly pristine. That's why they don't want to touch it. That's why they don't want to upgrade it. They just leave it how it is because it works. It works very well for storing value, transferring value, whatever, all that good stuff that I always talk about. It's very good at Bitcoining, that layer 1. So they don't want to touch it. They don't want to mess it up because there's a lot of complicated code that goes into this, and it's working fine. It's been working flawlessly for 14 years. So don't touch it. Just let it go. Okay, we'll build a second layer on top of it, And I think that is the logical, rational way to go about it. And that's what the Lightning Network is. And this guy released a platform for businesses to use, tap into the Lightning Network. Cool stuff. Adoption happening all over the place. Bitcoin's everywhere now. Oh, there was an article I forgot to put in here. I was gonna, but whatever, I'll just mention it. The Bitcoin white paper. The paper that the anonymous person who invented Bitcoin released on the forums way back in the day is on every Mac OS, apparently. Yeah, Bitcoin white paper. I don't know how you can access it exactly. I'm sure if you did like a search or something, I don't know. But it's in there. It's on your Mac. If you got a Mac, you got the Bitcoin white paper on there, baby. Why is it there? Why'd they do that? That's crazy. That's awesome. That's cool as hell. But why is it there? It's like they want to, they want people to know something. Like, put that on our laptops. Maybe Apple made Bitcoin. Oh my God. Maybe Steve Jobs made Bitcoin. Oh my God. All right, I gotta hurry it up here. I'm at 40 minutes. It's like my cutoff. I don't like to make these too long. You know what? We'll talk about that next time. Last article: G20 nations pursue unified approach to address crypto risks. How about you address the banking risk, the financial systems risk that you all caused and created. All right, everybody. I think that does it for this video. Let's check on these prices. Bitcoin is at $40. Oh my God, it crashed. Just kidding. Bitcoin's at $30,120. That sounds great to say, finally, 30,000. It's been too long since I've seen that number next to the BTC ticker. ETH at 1,880. Cardano about 40 cents. XRP 51 cents. Yeah, looks like a little drop happened. 2%. Bitcoin's leading the charge, though. It roared past 30 grand, and it's going to continue roaring. Because, man, it just couldn't be a better environment for Bitcoin to thrive. Protect yourselves out there, folks. Financially, physically, mentally, everythingly. Make sure you are taking care of yourself. And, like and subscribe to the video if you liked anything I said today. Dislike and tell me how much you hated everything if you didn't like it. Either way, I want to hear from you. Tell me what color socks you wore today. Tell me whatever you want. Leave a comment, whatever. Like, subscribe, follow me on Truth Social, follow me on Twitter at Saved by the Code. On both. And yeah, I deeply appreciate y'all for listening, and I bid you farewell on your cryptocurrency journey.